We've been studying her for a while, but she's just starting to kind of get it. So tonight what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna run her. I've got a bird we planted. It's kind of on the point there. It's a pigeon. And so we're gonna cut her loose. We're gonna let her run. We're gonna let her find that bird, point that bird. I'm gonna walk in and flush that bird with a remote launcher, and then I'll shoot the gun. And my hopes is she needs to hold it. She needs to hold steady through it. Pigeons were a challenge, but they've kind of become pretty good at it. So then we've progressed to these Johnny House quail, which if you've been on the property over there's a Johnny House that has like 50 in it right now. This one's got about 20 in it. And so what we do with the quail is we release some of them, and then I work her on those quail. They act a lot different than the pigeons, and they're less controlled, and they're a lot more tempting to her. They're not quite as tempting as a wild bird, and they don't act like a wild bird, which is a challenge because dogs can catch them. That can create some habits. So there's some downfall to the Johnny House quail, but it is back to this incremental progress. Get them good on pigeons. Now we're getting her pretty good, and she's getting pretty good on the Johnny House quail. I think the point I want to make is, first, I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of what we've done because we don't know what we're doing. And so I'm not afraid to admit we don't know what we're doing. This is so new to me. But I've trialed and erred a lot, and I've learned an awful lot with this dog. The next one will be a whole lot easier, I think, just because I know more. But I'm gonna run her and show you, and we could fall flat on her face here. She could break, and that would be okay too, because last year at the workshop, didn't I get her to just point a pigeon? I think I just did like a bird out of the bag type thing. I do have a bird in my bag as well, which I may use, I may not use. I'm gonna see how this, I always like to have a bird because it gives me an option. If my launchers don't work, if something doesn't go right, if she screws up on the first one and I see an opportunity to stop her, I'll whoa her, and I might throw a bird then. I want to give myself an opportunity to get something good out of this. This is a training opportunity. Now it's a little bit different because we're doing it kind of as this demonstration type thing, but I might as well take advantage of it. Is John and Angie here? They what? They left. Because one of the things we talked about before was you don't need to set a lot of time aside to train your dogs because you interact with them all the time, and if you're smart about it, you'll just figure out ways to train them while you're interacting with them. I was going to do this anyway. I might as well try to get something out of it. She hasn't been worked in a couple days, so I don't want this to go bad, but if it goes bad, it'll look really realistic because it doesn't always go good. So I'm gonna cut her loose here. Now the hard part is she's got some wheels on her, and I don't know where she's gonna go, but I'm gonna start her out and we'll see how this goes. So one thing that's important is the ramp up. We talk about like cycling up. There's a reason I brought her out here on a leash. There's a reason I walked her over there. There's a reason I'm not letting her just go absolutely berserk, which I see a lot of guys do with their bird dogs. They go nuts and then they put them on the ground and they ask them to start hunting. I want a little bit of focus out of her as much as I can. And you can tell focus is a tough challenge for her right now. So I do like to settle her before I go. When I get them out, I put them up on the tailgate. I pet them down a little bit. I make them stand. I make them be patient. I'm not just going to let her free fly out of here. Back to that idea of that leash, we worked on that same drill where we took the leash on and off, on and off, on and off. Okay. She's a little close to it right now. There, that worked. So that was great. I was real happy with it. It was a little tough for her because she was so close. So that bird that came out of the launcher was, now the thing about that is, if that's a wild bird, so here's the thing, you can get as good as you want on pigeons. That's not the real thing. So like, if that's a wild bird and she gets that close, you saw her touch scent and then work into it, but she took her a while before she was confident enough to say, I gotta stop. And that's nothing trained, that's all in her. But if that's a wild bird, if that's a grouse, it's gone. So the way she's got to, as she gets older, she needs opportunities to learn, how close can I get to these things? And a lot of it is scenting conditions. I've seen it a million times where I get so mad at her because she bumps birds. There's a difference between bumping them and ripping them. If they smell it and they are actively trying to get it and they're flushing it, they're ripping them, and I don't want that. If they bump them because they touch scent and they're getting their nose into it and they got too close, my hope with that is that there's a lesson learned from them, that they go, I can't get that close, because the fun's over when that bird's gone. She's not into the bird. If I threw a bird for her, she's not into the retrieve. She's not into the bird itself. She likes the point. That's genetic. When you walk up on them, it's so cool when you walk up on them and you see it, because they literally are, they're tasting that scent. They're breathing it in. It's so cool to watch them do that. But, so I'm real happy with that. That was fine.